After years of cold rejection, the powerful Korean CEO gave his heart away to the one woman no one ever expected, a humble Nigerian waitress. Their love story was beautiful, but it was far from over. Because love, no matter how strong, will always be tested. At first, life felt like a dream. He cherished her presence, shielding her from the harsh eyes of the world. She, in turn, brought warmth and laughter into his once empty mansion, making him feel alive again. But not everyone celebrated their happiness. Some of his family saw her as unworthy. Society whispered cruelly about their differences. And soon, a shocking truth from her past threatened to tear them apart forever. Would their love survive when the world, and even destiny itself, stood against them? Life in Korea was like a dream for Gladys. Minho kept his promise by loving her unconditionally, and he opened a beautiful restaurant for her in Seoul, one that celebrated Nigerian dishes with a Korean twist. Bright colors, the rich smell of spices, and the sound of laughter filled the air every evening. Customers adored it, and soon, the restaurant became one of the most talked about places in the city. Gladys finally felt at home. Minho's mother, surprisingly, stood by her side, even visiting the restaurant often and telling her friends, "This is my daughter-in-law." It was a miracle she never thought possible. But peace never lasts for long. One evening, as the restaurant buzzed with customers, a tall, stern man walked in. His sharp suit, gray hair, and cold eyes made the room fall silent. Gladys recognized him immediately. Minho had shown her a photo once. It was his uncle, Mr. Han, the man who had helped raise Minho after his father's death. He didn't order food. He didn't smile. He simply sat, watching Gladys with eyes that felt like knives. Later that night, he visited Minho at his office. "Minho," he said firmly, "what are you doing to this family? A Nigerian waitress? Running restaurants instead of focusing on the company empire? Have you lost your mind?" Minho clenched his fists. "Uncle, I love her. She makes me happy. Isn't that what matters?" But Mr. Han's voice was like thunder. "No, what matters is legacy. You're the heir to a dynasty, and I will not allow you to throw everything away for her." Gladys didn't know it yet, but Mr. Han was determined. He had the power, the influence, and the cunning to destroy everything Minho had built for her unless they proved their love was stronger than his schemes. The days after the confrontation with Mr. Han were heavy. Minho tried to hide it, but Gladys could see the worry in his eyes. He smiled at her in the mornings, kissed her forehead before work, but his mind was troubled. At the restaurant, Gladys gave her best. She welcomed every customer warmly, laughed with the staff, and cooked with love. Koreans were slowly learning to enjoy her Nigerian dishes, and many came back for more. Still, there were whispers. Some customers praised her, others muttered that she didn't belong. One night, as she was closing the restaurant, she overheard two businessmen at the door. "Did you hear? That place only survives because of Minho's money. Without him, it would crash in a week," one said. The other chuckled. "Of course. Who would eat food from someone like her if not for his influence?" Gladys stood frozen. Their words hit her harder than she wanted to admit. She wanted to prove she could stand on her own, that she wasn't just the CEO's girlfriend. Meanwhile, Mr. Han was busy pulling strings. He called investors behind Minho's back, spreading rumors that Minho was distracted by a foreign girl and no longer capable of running the family empire. Some deals began to fall through. One evening, Minho came home late, his tie loose, his face tired. Gladys hurried to him, concern in her eyes. "What's wrong?" she asked softly. He looked at her for a long moment before pulling her close. "Uncle is trying to ruin me. He thinks loving you makes me weak." Gladys's chest tightened. "Then let me help you. Let me prove to everyone that I am not your weakness. I am your strength." Minho's eyes softened with love, but before he could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his face went pale. It was a message from his uncle. "Tomorrow, I will expose her. Let us see if you still choose her after the truth comes out." Gladys's heart stopped. What truth could he possibly mean? The next day, tension hung heavy in the air. Gladys worked at the restaurant as usual, but her heart raced with fear. What could Mr. Han possibly expose? She had no dark secrets, at least none that she knew could destroy her. That evening, Minho's company held a grand dinner with investors and family. Gladys wore a simple but elegant dress Minho had chosen for her. She stayed close to him, her hands trembling, her smile soft but nervous. Halfway through the evening, Mr. Han stood up to give a toast. Everyone quieted, glasses in hand. But his words weren't a celebration, they were poison. Ladies and gentlemen, he began smoothly, we must protect the reputation of our family and our company. Unfortunately, not everyone here is who they claim to be. All eyes turned toward Gladys. Her heart pounded in her chest. Mr. Han held up a folder. This is proof that this so-called waitress is not just here for love. Years ago, back in Nigeria, she was engaged to another man. A man she abandoned, leaving behind unpaid debts and unanswered promises. Gasps filled the room. Gladys froze, her face drained of color. She remembered. It was true. Before moving abroad, her family had once tried to arrange her marriage to a man she didn't love. She had run away from it all, leaving everything behind. But she had never spoken of it, never wanted that pain to touch her new life. Mr. Han's voice grew colder. Tell me, Minho, is this the woman you want to trust with your empire? Someone who betrays and runs when life gets hard. The room buzzed with whispers. Investors looked at each other uneasily. Gladys's eyes filled with tears as she looked at Minho, her lips trembling. She did nothing wrong, but would he doubt her now? Would he turn away like everyone else once did? For a long moment, Minho was silent. Then, slowly, he reached for her hand. His voice was calm, but his eyes blazed with fire. Yes, uncle. This is the woman I choose. And I don't care about her past. I only care about the future we will build together. The room went silent. Gladys gasped softly, tears falling freely as she clung to his hand. But Mr. Han's smile only grew sharper. Very well, Minho. Then prepare yourself. If you stand with her, then you stand against me. The room was tense after Minho's declaration. Everyone waited, unsure what would happen next. Mr. Han stood tall, his jaw tight, but Minho's grip on Gladys's hand never wavered. I don't care about her past, Minho repeated, his voice louder this time. What matters is who she is now, and she is the woman I love. I don't care about what happened before, and for all I know, love can't be forced on someone. So if anyone thinks they can shame her, they will answer to me. Gasps filled the hall. Some investors whispered nervously, but others secretly admired Minho's courage. Mr. Han's lips curled into a thin smile. You're a fool, Minho. You're blinded by love, and it will cost you everything. But before he could say more, another voice rose in the room, sharp, firm, and commanding. Enough. It was Minho's mother. She stood, her eyes blazing as she glared at her brother. For years, she had allowed him to interfere in family matters, but not anymore. You will not speak another word against my son or his fiancée, she said. Gladys is now part of this family, and if you cannot respect that, then you have no place in our lives. Everyone went silent. The shock on Mr. Han's face was clear. He had never expected his sister to turn against him. You think you can erase me from the family? He sneered. I don't think, Minho's mother replied coldly. I know. Stay away from my son's life, or you will regret it. For the first time, Mr. Han looked unsettled. He muttered something under his breath and stormed out of the room, his pride wounded. Minho turned to Gladys, who was still trembling, tears sliding down her cheeks. He cupped her face gently, whispering, You don't have to be afraid. As long as I'm here, no one can take you away from me. Gladys broke into sobs, burying her face in his chest. For the first time, she felt the true meaning of home, not just a place, but a person who chose her, no matter the cost. Yet deep inside, Minho knew his uncle wasn't finished. He would come back stronger, more dangerous. And when he did, their love would face its hardest battle yet. Days after the storm at the dinner party, life slowly returned to normal. Gladys poured her heart into the restaurant. She introduced new dishes that blended Nigerian and Korean flavors, spicy suya skewers with kimchi on the side, jollof fried rice with sesame chicken. Customers lined up to try them, and soon food bloggers began writing glowing reviews. One evening, as the restaurant closed, Minho surprised her. He appeared at the door, holding a small bouquet of flowers. "For the hardest working woman I know," he said softly. Gladys laughed, shaking her head. "You're spoiling me too much." "No," he said, stepping closer. "I'm just giving you what you deserve. Every time I see you smile, it reminds me why I chose you, against the world." Her eyes watered, but this time with joy. She leaned into his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. For a moment, it felt like nothing could ever touch them. That weekend, Minho's mother invited them both to the family estate. She welcomed Gladys warmly, teaching her how to make a traditional Korean dish and proudly introducing her to distant relatives. For the first time, Gladys felt truly accepted, not just as Minho's love, but as part of his family. But peace never lasts forever. Late one night, after Gladys had fallen asleep, Minho sat in his office, going through documents. A single envelope lay on his desk, delivered anonymously. He opened it, and his eyes narrowed. Inside were photographs, pictures of Gladys at the restaurant, pictures of her with staff, and even one of her smiling at a male customer. On the back of one photo was a note. "She will betray you. Just watch and see." Minho's jaw tightened. He knew exactly who was behind this. His uncle had struck again. But this time, Minho swore he wouldn't let anyone shake his faith in her, not even his own blood. The next morning, Minho tried to act normal. He didn't tell Gladys about the photos, not wanting to worry her. Instead, he smiled, kissed her forehead, and encouraged her to focus on the restaurant. But Gladys wasn't blind. She noticed the way his smile didn't reach his eyes, how his shoulders carried a new weight. Something was wrong, and she could feel it. At the restaurant that evening, one of the waiters handed her a small envelope. "A man in a black car asked me to give this to you," he said nervously. Her heart skipped. She opened it quickly and froze. Inside was a photograph of her serving food to a group of male customers, with a single line scrawled in red ink. "How long until he sees your true colors?" Gladys's hands trembled. Who would do this? And why? That night, she sat in bed beside Minho, the letter hidden under her pillow. She wanted to tell him, but fear held her back. What if this was exactly what his uncle wanted to make Minho doubt her? The next day, the attacks grew bolder. Strange customers came to the restaurant, eating in silence, but glaring at her as if she had done something wrong. A blogger posted a cruel review, claiming her success was fake and only possible because of Minho's money. Gladys felt the pressure closing in. But when Minho came to see her, she forced a smile, hiding her pain. Until one evening, when she overheard two men whispering outside the restaurant. "Mr. Han says it's only a matter of time. The CEO will throw her away just like the others." Her blood ran cold. Mr. Han. It had been him all along. That night, when Minho returned home, Gladys finally broke down. Tears spilled as she held the photo out to him. "Minho, your uncle is trying to destroy us. He wants me gone." For a long moment, Minho stared at the photo in silence. Then he ripped it in half, his jaw tight, his voice firm. "Let him try. Gladys, I don't care what he does. Nothing, do you hear me? Nothing will ever make me stop loving you." She sobbed into his chest, relief and fear mixing in her heart. But deep inside, she knew this battle was far from over. Because Mr. Han wouldn't stop until he tore them apart. Weeks turned into months. Mr. Han tried everything. He sent inspectors to the restaurant, hoping to shut it down with false complaints. He spread rumors in the business world, saying Minho was reckless and weak because of love. He even tried to bribe staff to betray Gladys. But no matter what he did, the restaurant only grew stronger. Customers defended Gladys online, posting pictures of her food with glowing reviews. Food magazines featured her as the woman bringing Nigerian flavor to Seoul. And Minho never wavered. Every time his uncle struck, he stood taller. Every time whispers spread, he held Gladys's hand in public, making sure the world saw his choice. Finally, one stormy night, Mr. Han arrived at the restaurant himself. His presence made the staff freeze and Gladys's heart race. He sat quietly at a table. For the first time, he ordered food. Gladys, though nervous, prepared the dish herself, a mix of jollof rice with bulgogi, the perfect symbol of their cultures blending. When she set the plate before him, their eyes met. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he took a bite. The room was silent. Everyone waited. Finally, Mr. Han put down his chopsticks and sighed deeply. His shoulders slumped, as if years of pride had finally broken. "I tried to break you," he admitted, his voice heavy. "I thought you were just another woman chasing power and money. But you've proven me wrong." Gladys's eyes filled with tears. "You've built something with your own hands. You've stood firm against every storm." And more than that, he looked at Minho, who stood protectively by her side. "You've given him a happiness I thought he'd never find." He stood, adjusting his suit. His eyes softened, though his pride still lingered. "I may never fully understand this love, but I can no longer fight it. From today, you have my respect." Gladys's lips trembled, unable to speak. Minho reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly. For the first time, the war was over. But as Gladys stood in the quiet of the restaurant that night, she realized something. Winning Mr. Han's approval wasn't the end of their journey. It was just the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter of building a life together, stronger than ever before. The restaurant lights dimmed that night, but Gladys's heart shone brighter than ever. For months, she had fought battles she never imagined against doubt, against prejudice, against a man who held so much power. Yet here she was, standing with Minho, not as a stranger in a foreign land, but as a woman who had earned her place. Minho pulled her close and whispered, "I told you. I would choose you every time." She smiled, tears rolling down her cheeks. "And I would still choose you even if the world stood against us." His mother, who had been watching every sense from a distance, joined them, her face warm with pride. "Family is not about where you are born," she said softly. "It is about where love is found. And today, you are truly my daughter." For the first time, Gladys felt completely at home. That weekend, the family gathered at the restaurant, not as enemies, but as one. Mr. Han, though still stern, raised his glass. "To new beginnings," he said. And with that, the last wall between them finally crumbled. As the night drew to a close, Minho and Gladys stepped outside. The Seoul skyline glittered above them, endless and bright. Gladys leaned into him, knowing that their love had not only survived, but had become unshakable. From waitress to restaurateur, from rejection to acceptance, from strangers to soulmates. It wasn't just a love story anymore. It was their story. And it was only the beginning. If you enjoyed this part 2, please like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories like this.